guys, my name is Greg Fosnacht. I am a student at U of I, and today I'll be talking about the climate change and the effect it will have on us in our future. So, there's a lot of discussion on the impact of climate change and what it's going to have on us, such as will there be a rise in water levels, so much so that cities will be wiped off the map. Another area with a lot of talk is the massive amount of species that are going extinct as of today because of the humans' impact on our ecosystem. So there's a lot of debate going on whether or not we are directly involved, if the humans are the reason behind the mass extinctions and the rising water levels. But let's not look at those areas. Let's focus on a different field. Let's focus on the agricultural yield and what's going to happen to us if we ruin the ecosystem. The impact that it will have on us is that we won't be able to grow any crops if our ecosystem is destroyed. And right now, that's the path that we are headed towards. So how do we stop this from happening? What can we do personally on the individual level? What can we do as a country? What can we do as a world as a whole? What can we do to prevent this from happening to us? Well, the problem seems to be that we use way too much fossil fuel, and it's what's destroying the ecosystem. We need to cut back on the fossil fuel consumption on the individual level. You can find statistics from the United States Energy Information, and apparently transportation takes up only 28% of our energy use. So if we all switched to bikes and just gave up on cars, if we all just went biking for the rest of our days on this earth, then honestly, that's not going to be enough to make enough of an effect on the ecosystem to stop from what is happening. It kind of reminds me of the company Tesla and how they made that brand new car, and everyone's just think it's going to change everything. Everyone thinks it's going to change the world because the car can run 100% on electricity. I mean, yeah, it's a great start, don't get me wrong, but the problem is that electricity mainly comes from fossil fuels. It's the fossil fuel used in electricity is generally coal, petroleum, and natural gas, according to the U.S. Emerging Administration. But so if we want to make a change, it shows that we can't do it purely on an individual level because of the 28% is just not enough. So we gotta think bigger. Can we do it as a nation? If the United States made enough of an impact, can we fix it as a country? Well, the USA has the highest level of energy consumption per person, and we only consume 18% of the world's energy, and that's coming again from the United States of Energy Information. Yeah, lots of info. Love reading some of their articles, but okay. So now 18% is just not enough to make the changes that we need. So what it shows is that the United States cannot be the only country to go to renewable resources, and it has to be the whole world. The whole world needs to adopt, and it needs to change. So we in fact cannot do this as a nation. We need to come together as a world. The world needs to be able to do this, and what the world needs to do is invest in different energy sources. We are using way too much fossil fuels. According to the U.S. Energy Administration, the oil provides for 92% of the energy for transportation, such as cars, buses, trains. But for the overall energy used by the United States is 27% of it comes from natural gas, 36% petroleum, 19% from coal, and 8% from nuclear electricity. But here's the kicker: only 10% from renewable energy, and that's really the problem that we have here. Is in America and most of the countries around the world is that we don't have enough renewable energy. So types of renewable energy, the most popular ones would be solar, hydroelectric, biomass, geothermal. The problems we have in these areas would be that they are not yet efficient enough of energy sources for us to sustain as an entire nation. So with that in mind, we're going to have to need a different type of alternate resource completely. So personally, I'm a huge fan of nuclear energy. I think that the public has had a negative stigma towards this resource, and that it shouldn't be so. Nuclear energy does not give off carbon dioxide, monoxide, or nitrogen oxide. It's basically clean energy. But the problem is that it is a temporary fix because it is not a renewable resource. It is, in fact, a non-renewable resource. So, however, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, the United States has on reserve 1,227,000,000 pounds of uranium, which is the mineral needed to run these nuclear reactors. So we could be set for a long time with what we just have on reserve, but it's not a permanent fix, just a temporary fix. But it would be a good source of energy for us to utilize as we look into other areas for an energy source that the whole world could depend on, not just the country, the whole world. So what needs to be done is the government needs to invest more money into research in these energy fields. Right now, according to the Department of Energy, we have invested $2.4 billion in research for new energy. This is 23.3% lower than what President Obama asked for in his package that he introduced. And mainly, honestly, I'm not so high on Obama. I'm against him in most of his policies. But in this case, I not only agree with the man, but I wish that we'd spend more money. Because we are at a time of crisis, and we need to figure this out right now before the situation gets any worse. Because before you know it, we won't have an ecosystem. And without an ecosystem, there will be no crops. With no crops, there will be no life. So it is something we drastically need to avoid for the obvious reasons. Yeah, I mean, thank you guys for listening to me and my little spiel on the climate change and what needs to be done. I guess now it's up to you guys to talk to the center, to the government, and really make a change and an impact on this world. Thank you guys.